Hello, hello. Oh, my head's a bit ploofy. Must be a humid day. Welcome. Look, I'm 1 minute early this week to make up for 1 minute late last week. Is this how this works? Sure, why not? Here we are on our live stream. Hope you're having a tolerable time of it in the summer. And let us have a look to see what we have got this week. Bit of a normal one. I mean, it's week 53, isn't it? So, start of a new year. Bit weird being in the middle of July. But we've got more of all of the great things that we cover every week. We're going to look at things that have changed, ways to reach and distribute your publications ever wider. I'm going to go into expertise at depth and at speed. So let's crack on and see what we're talking about. Let's turn the microphone on actually. There we go. Lovely. Right. With regards to change, I really feel like I've shoehorned this in because it's just that this is what I have been working on this week. And being, completely self-obsessed, apparently I can't show you anything except that which is in my brain. So let's just take advantage of that character flaw and have a look at that sort of thing. So this week I have been extending the document template functionality. Now, I wondered about whether to talk about this week because actually there's only 3 clients who see this when you go to Consonance. It's behind what we call a feature flag. Not everyone has been feature flagged on because it's still very much work in progress. And also no one has said, and not many people other than those 3 have said, yeah, I'd like to be sort of in on the ground floor. So if you like what you see today and then, go to the interface and you think, wait a minute, where is it? You probably are working for a company that haven't opted into it yet. You can opt into this at the user level. So if you personally want to have a look at this, but you don't want to have to do the old, song and dance to get everyone else on board as well. You don't have to. We can turn it on just for you so you can have a sneaky peeky. So if you do want to have a look at this, then go to the main menu and look at document templates. The whole thing about this new feature, it is a new way to do some things that you've been able to do in Consonance for a while. But it's one of those features where I don't think that we here have fully yet sort of found the edges of it. Because it's a way to get your data and to put it into different formats depending on what you need. I'm being necessarily vague because it's a kind of all singing, all dancing feature. If you wanted to put together a mark record or an XML record or some structured thing, you can do that. If you want to put together an HTML page, you can do that. If you want it to have CSS embedded as a style, you can do that. If you want to export something so that you can edit it in Word, you can do that. It's or PDF or any kind of structured format really. It is really extendable. So I thought I'd show you a few things that we've been doing this week, see if it sparks any ideas. But I can't kind of draw an edge around it because I think it's going to be really, really whatever you make of it. So listen to what I'm going to say and then think, oh, right. You just have to be a little bit flexible of mind and think, well, we're doing X, Y, and Z. I wonder if that feature could help with that. We're putting together spreadsheets. We're always putting together Word documents. We have to do a catalogue every year. We have to do price lists. We have to do web pages. We have to do this special XML based format. I kind of don't want to say anymore because it will be specific to you. So you have to think, I am doing weird thing that is some sort of report that involves data and I have to do it manually and I have to use some software, maybe you can use this to do it. Drop us a line if you would like to discuss your particular situation. So, last time we talked about this, I was showing you things such as an advanced information sheet. We've got this library of document template examples here. I'm going to click on advanced information sheet and we'll see what we're talking about. I'm signed in here on my local machine. This is Feline Press. None of these books are real. Nothing is real. So we're gonna just be seeing some sample data, but there are some of these records in here where I've put in a little bit more data than, not that one apparently, a little bit more data than usual. So Cats in Space, I'm pretty sure has a blurb. So here we are looking at a document template. I've chosen a demo work to get it set up. It's Cats in Space. And I don't know if you might be as old as me or older, or you just might have come across these tools more, but have you ever done a mail merge where you get a set of data exported from your in-house contact database or something? It might have author name and address, and you put together a letter in Word, and then instead of Dear Emma, you put Dear and then some sort of squiggle, salutation, person surname. And then you press a button and magically, not one letter, but 50 letters comes out. And where it says salutation and surname, the data gets slotted in. It's a bit like that. I mean, web development is a bit like that, to be honest. So over on the left here, we have got a template, and a lot of this it's kind of hard-coded, for want of a better word. The words advanced information sheet have been typed in, and that's kind of static data. But within that static data, static text, static markup, static something or other, within those literal words, you can have data tags. And so here's one. It's got a couple of squiggles, and it says work.title. And so when we run this, whatever work we're talking about, its title is going to get put in there. So it's not going to say on the document, it's not going to say work.title. It's going to say Cats in Space. And that basic premise is kind of exciting. And so what we've been working on this week, it kind of, we've had a template that operates at the work level. And so that's fine. You can have the works title, you can have the works products format and price there and that sort of thing. But when it gets really helpful is when you can have works. So multiple works on one big document. And what we're talking about there really is a catalogue, isn't it? You don't open a catalogue. It would be weird if you opened a catalogue and you just saw one work in there and it's two products. If you open a catalogue, you expect to see the 20 works on the front list and the 400 works of the back list. If you open a digital audio catalogue, it might be at the product level. But it is helpful to have templates like this at the works level, plural. So this is how you can have a look at that happening in this template. I've created this one for the library. It is at the work level, singular. But now you can base this template off of a works object. So I choose works. I'm still going to choose one work to get this template set up, because remember we're in the definition area here, kind of in settings. Most people, I think, on the team will not come to this page. I mean, there's a small subset of people in publishing who want to look at CSS and HTML and rub their hands together. Most people, it's not going to make them feel particularly comfortable. So if you are the one who feels comfortable, fantastic, you can get at this. If you are the one who does not feel comfortable, don't worry. That's why we have a library of examples. That's why we have a support team here. And that's why we're only at the setup now. In a moment, we're going to go and run it. So I've changed this so that it says works, and I'm going to press save. And when I press save, problems are going to occur because now I've changed this template from the work level to the works level. And so by default, this template doesn't know what a work is. We'll have to do a bit of effort to put that in place. Desperately trying not to use the word work to mean multiple different things. So in order to get this to start being, oh my God, language, to start working again, I'm going to make a small edit. Instead of this template expecting the work object to be meaningful, it's going to expect the works object to be meaningful. And I can't just say works.title because then, if this was for 400 works, then 400 titles would all appear at the same point. And that's not how it works anyway. So what we'll do instead is something like this: for work in works. And I'll show you in a moment why we've got it set up like that. And and this is a for loop. So if you're inclined towards this sort of carry on, you might know that a for loop is going to iterate through all of the works within the works object, and we're going to be able to act on one of those works each time, round and round and round this loop. But I do have to close off this for loop. So I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to put it right at the end of the document. And the syntax here is end for, I think, end for. So now when I press save, hopefully I'm going to see that I've got my data back because now, and I've got rid of all of those errors at the top there. So in a moment, we'll go over to Data Studio and we will run this template for a collection of works, and we'll start to see how useful this can be. Before we go over there, let's have a look at data reference. We had a fantastically useful question come in from a client who is using this at the moment, and quite simply said, all of the data tags that we're looking at here, is this like a set of suggestions and then you sort of make up, you sort of extrapolate from what you can see here, or is this it? So I thought that was such a good question. I just want to touch on it. This list of objects and their properties is the list of data tags that you can do something with at the moment. Now we are adding to it all the time. In fact, we've added, this week we've added this works. We've added this works object. Works responds to works, which is why we had to do works.works. We've also added in a bunch of extra tags underneath some of the existing objects. So underneath work, I think we've added in image, imprint image, and that sort of thing. So cover image tag and imprint image tag are new. We've got some embellishments on contributors as well. And then within products, I've added in a bunch of extra properties. Obviously can't remember a single one of them right now. There was, oh God, brain. I only did this yesterday. Oh yeah, product height in millimeters, good. Product width in millimeters, great. Ancillary contents is a great one. So there's a whole extra ancillary contents object. And those are the things where you can say 42 woodcuts or 25 line drawings. So that's helpful for catalogues and advanced information sheets and that sort of thing. But I just wanted to let you know that this list here, whenever you go to it, that is the full set of tags that you can use in your template and your templates. So yeah, don't look at this and think, well, I should be able to infer all of the other things, because we have to write code to provide the logic to make these things work. So it's not just any old data that's in the database that can be used. So let's now go to Data Studio, and we've got a new template that's called that references the works object. I might edit it just so that I don't get lost. Works level advanced information sheet, something or other. Great. Super. Right, over to searches, still on local. We'll create a new search, so nothing up my sleeves. And we will get everything. Will we get everything? No. We'll get everything where the title contains space. Not sure how many there are of that. And then the desired outcome. This is a new display. And the one that you're looking for is download works document from template. As you know, we can dot between these displays with no effort. If I click on switch to, I can go and look at the products list, and the data that matches the filter that I've given will be presented in this display format that I'm interested in. But this new one that we've done this week is download works document from template. So here we are. We have got two products that contains the word space. Sorry, two works where the product title contains the word space. And if I click on this drop down here, I can see my works level advanced information sheet that we were just working on. So I click generate document, and what you're looking for is the bell up here in the top right corner. It will make a sound, although I think I've got that muted, and it will go yellow. Made the decision to have all of these jobs running in the background. Oh, there we go, yellow. The reason for that is that there's nothing to stop you running 1,000 works through this. And if you do 1,000 really dense, templated pieces of layout, it's going to take longer than the 25 seconds we've got on the web thread, and we're going to get a timeout. So we don't want that to happen. So my document has been generated. It's for 2 works. I'm going to download it to my browser. And I'm just going to click to open it because it's an HTML file, and my computer, and I expect yours, is set up so that if I want to open an HTML file, the computer is going to choose a browser program. And sure enough, my browser is set to be Firefox. So I double click on that to open. And so what I've got here is an HTML document. I don't know, yeah, you can see in the address bar of the browser up here, it doesn't say like HTTPS or www. It says file. So I'm opening a website kind of thing, but it's a local website. It's from it's like opening a Word document. It just so happens that the piece of software that you view an HTML file in is a browser app. The piece of software that you view a docx file in is usually Microsoft Word. Now I have to admit, I don't even have Word installed on my machine because, I don't know, if you can get away without having Microsoft Word on your machine, you do it, don't you? But I can open this HTML file in LibreOffice or OpenOffice or text or my Bear Markdown app thing. You know, the HTML file format is really flexible. So here I am. I've got my 2 works. They've appeared on one HTML document because that's what I've set it up to do for all of the works in the works collection, for each of the works in this works collection. Print out my template. So that's the fundamental gist of the thing that I wanted you to get. We've got 2 works here. Exactly the same thing happens if you've got 500 or 800. So if this looks remotely familiar, like some sort of catalogue-y thing or Word document thing, or if this is ringing any bells about a file that you regularly have to produce, you know, slightly nicely laid out, maybe a little bit styled, but certainly containing your information, then get in touch and just sort of talk about it with us, and let's say, you know, could it possibly work for this impossibly boring process that I have to do every Friday afternoon? You never know. I'm going to attempt actually to open this HTML file in a piece of software that isn't a browser. While we're talking about browsers, and I mentioned Firefox, other browser programs that you might use, there's Chrome, there's Safari, there's Opera, there's Microsoft Edge, which if you're more of a PC than a Mac person, you may well have that. And a lot of them use the same fundamental programming under the hood. But if you're seeing, if you download an HTML file to your computer, you might see the Chrome icon there. And when you double click on that file name, it might default to open up in Chrome if that's the browser that you really like. But we could, you know, this is nothing to do with Consonance. You know that you can right mouse on a file and you can open with different sorts of programs. So there's my note-taking app, which I'm not going to open because it's full of Open University stuff. There's a different browser, Brave. Oh yeah, and DuckDuckGo. They do a browser nowadays, not just a search engine. But I'm going to, and then Edge. But I'm going to try and open this in LibreOffice, which is it's kind of an open source text editor. Also has a spreadsheet program and that sort of thing. I don't get on very well with it, I have to say. But sometimes you need to be able to emulate Word, don't you? And LibreOffice doesn't handle HTML documents that well. So, you know, this isn't the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. But if you were wanting to, whatever you use Word for, I'm not going to tell you. If you use Word for something and it's a pain in the backside and it contains data and you think that this might help, then just know that what we've done here is export data in a layout from Consonance. It can be opened in Word, might be useful. So let's close that so we don't have to look at that. What else can we do with HTML files? We can email them around. Although now let's go back to our agenda because I wanted to complain about that kind of notion. So yes, so multi-work document templates, that's what we've just done there. We have set up a multi-work template. Then we have gone to Data Studio and we have searched for some products, searched for some data, and we have produced a multi-work template expression from that data. Fine. And we've looked at the data tags available as well. I didn't do a very thorough job, but it's everything that's in that sidebar is what is available. Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about going outside of Consonance, because what we've sort of brushed up against there a bit is we've taken some data, we've made it that we can get it into a different format, and now we can, email that Word document around. Well, that's great. And everything. I just want to urge you to use caution when you are sending data outside of the system, because, you know, we bang on about one version of the truth, don't we? The moment you've exported your data in a plausible format and emailed it to somebody, now you have two versions of the truth, and then they're going to fiddle with it and you've got three versions of the truth, and they're going to send it on to some other people and you've got 9 versions of the truth, and before you know it, you're back to square one. Getting confused about what actually is the pub date. So I wanted to just draw your attention or remind you of a few features within Consonance that keeps everything tight, where you get the best of both worlds. You get to emit data in a structured format that's necessary and relevant for your purposes, but you're not kind of playing that game of getting yourself into a pickle in a month's time. So let's have a look at a couple of features that might help with that. One of those is discussions. So let's go to Cats Throughout History, for want of a better cat. Discussions can be found in the project management tab of any work. So if I click on that, I've got discussions right there. And what you can do is have a discussion. Crazy naming convention, huh? You can have a discussion with your colleagues, but you don't have to resort to email and then attaching things. So just wanted to make sure that you remember and you know about this. Catalogue draft. How nice would it be if you could say, look, I've done this catalogue draft, go to Data Studio, get the draft that I've put there, have a look at it yourself, and then make the changes within Consonance if there are any problems that need happening, that need resolving, as opposed to defaulting to downloading that export, emailing it to somebody and saying, please send me back any changes or edits that you see. Do you know what I mean? It's just subtle, but I thought it was worth saying whilst we're in the export game, that you can sort of shortcut problems in the future by being quite averse to that old pattern of doing a report, emailing it to somebody, asking for feedback, loading yourself up with the work that will come from their feedback. So have a lovely time doing that if that's relevant. I think it's on my so on that sort of note, I've put it under reach this time, sharing batches, because on that sort of note, there's this thing about Consonance can feel very personal, can't it? You can go to Data Studio, you can follow your own nose, looking through the data that is of interest to you, but that's part of your existence at work. The other part is making sure that the wider team is on board with what you're doing and is able to see what you're seeing when you want them to. So I wanted to go over to the batches area and just revise what batches mean and what they do. So here's a batch. It's called Cats. It's got 3 products in it. I can click back through to Data Studio and have a look at those products. And from Data Studio, I can add to this batch, or I can create a new batch, and of course I can destroy it as well. A batch, let's click into it so that we can see what we're talking about. A batch is like an ad hoc collection of products. So it's different, it's differentiated from the results of a Data Studio search. When we go to a Data Studio search, we use data to whittle down the sorts of products that we're interested in looking at, or other sort of data objects. So, here we're saying, well, the ones I'm interested in are where the product title contains the word cat or Scotland. And then you get a nice list of whatever's got those in. So this sort of collection of works. I've chosen a really bad one. Let's do space again. At least we get more than one thing that comes back. So this collection of data exists as a collection because each of the items in this collection have a shared attribute. The shared attribute here is that all of their titles contain the word space. But a batch is just any old random collection of products that have been put together and grouped together for just because you want them to be grouped together. We haven't sort of, this isn't a batch, and there's no logic in here that says this batch contains products that are, in this pub date range or in this series or whatever. It really is an ad hoc collection of products that you want to belong together for reasons. So that means that you can sort of weaponize that a little bit, and you can use that as something to point people at, to say, when I'm talking about the spring summer 2027 list, this is the batch that contains the products that I'm talking about. And for reasons that I don't want to talk about, it excludes all of the products the works by this author, and it excludes all of the ebooks, and it excludes just this one random product that is just not included for reasons. And it also includes a November publication date product, because publishing is messy and not everything obeys nice and neat data rules, does it? So you can use batches to both store and communicate these important yet random groups of products. This batch contains 3 products: Cats in Space, Cats Out History, blah, blah, blah. We'll add some products to this batch. So I'm going to go to, I'll add all of these. These are all of the products that contain the word space. It's actually quite usual to receive an email, isn't it, with a spreadsheet that's got a load of ISBN 13s in it. You might want to grab that spreadsheet with the bunch of ISBN 13s, copy the whole thing. You don't have to just get the ISBN 13s, and you don't have to strip out the hyphens or anything like that. Just get the entire spreadsheet or the entire email where ISBN 13s are dotted around, paste it into that box, and then you'll get the products that come back that match that ISBN 13. It's really powerful. I use it 20 times a day. Sod's law, I haven't got to hand a badly formatted list of ISBN 13s. Maybe next week I'll get organised and do that. So that's a really good one. But we'll add these Cats in Space products. And in fact, before I do that, there's one very useful little kind of hidden feature actually, where again, because we're a bit ad hoc doing this, we'll go to this refine by product page. We can opt in and opt out certain of these products just because we want to. So I'm going to say I don't want that audio download and I don't want that audio download. So I've ticked those boxes on this refine by product display that I've switched to, and I'm going to exclude those. And that is going to magically add those system identifiers to the list that we want to exclude these identifiers from this list, and they've disappeared from here. So again, a little bit of ad hoc cleanup. If you're pulling your hair out thinking, yes, I want vaguely all of these, but not the ones that I just know don't exist, then refine by product can be really helpful in a pinch. You can refine by contact as well. In fact, what does that look like? There's only one contributor to all of these, so there's only one contact, so I'm not going to mess with that. If I was to get rid of that space restriction though, I'd see a lot more. There's me. Great. So now I can, in fact, how many products is that? Oh, that's quite a few. That's all right. Let's add all of these to our batch. So we've come to Data Studio, we've used data filters as far as we can to get the list of products. Probably we have grabbed a bunch of ISBN 13s from a spreadsheet or an email, and we've used product ISBN 13 not in list or in list. And then we're going to go to adding to a batch. I'll use the filter at the top of this page so that I don't have to get scroll exhaustion. I'm going to click add to a batch, and then I'm going to get my list of batches that exist in this account at the moment. I'm going to add 71 products to that batch. So I click, and that's done. 71 products added to the batch cats. So if we go back to our cats batch, it's actually really hard to say, refresh the page, going to go from 3 to all of the ones that we've added. So again, I started talking about this because I was thinking, when does data leave the system and why? We know that it can cause pickles, but using batches might be a way for you to avoid getting involved in that pickle in the first place. If you just need a list of products for some reason, then I think batches are quite good. Not least because then you can use this batch for all sorts of other things. Let's go back to Data Studio by clicking Explore, 71 products. I've used the batch. Products in batch include any of that batch, cats. You know, I can have other, if I've got more than one batch, which I really don't here, I could have that. I can layer on more of them. Show me all of the products in that batch. Oh, but exclude the ones where the publication date is after tomorrow, because, you know, I don't want to look at those for some reason today. You know, filters it down right away. So, you know, you get the best of both worlds. You get to not have data in a spreadsheet somewhere or on an email somewhere. You get to share this collection of products with your colleagues, and you get to exercise them like this. What was the other thing that I thought I would show you when we've done this batch thing? I've forgotten already. Create batch, add to batch, remove from batch can also be quite helpful. So, you know, you could think, oh no, I've added all of those ones that have got the word cat in, or I've added in my exemplars. So why don't we do title, product's title contains something like exemplar, search there. Okay, there's 4 of them. Why don't we remove those from the batch using this sort of tool? So remove from batch. Do I want to remove 4 products from that selected batch? Sure. So now that's done. So, you know, there's a lot of time-saving efforts that Consonance can get you. It just takes a little bit of thinking, oh yeah, I'm about to do such and such a job. I saw that in Consonance. I saw that there's a way I can do that. You almost have to patchwork together the features to form a kind of workflow that makes sense for what you're trying to do. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully, anyway. Right. Let's go back to our thing. So sharing batches, great. And then the other one was switching displays, which we've kind of baked in, haven't we? It's this whole idea of you can think laterally in Consonance. You can start off by containing products in a set batch, but you can edit that batch, you can amend it, you can add to it, you can use it as the basis for doing new things, but crucially you can share it with your colleagues and you don't have to share it outside of the system. Let me just go back to batches, because there's one other thing. It might be like a settings thing. Let me just add a new batch, because there's a visibility thing. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So name. Oh, and you can put an ISBN list in. Very nice. Forgotten about that. If I check that box to private, only you can see it. Actually, can I find a list of ISBNs? Where's my LibreOffice? Have I got anything open here? No. None of these things are of any use. They're all not feline press. Never mind. 97819781990. This is an old ISBN of mine that I just happen to know off by heart. It might be in the feline press one. So the point I want to make on this is you can check a box there to say private, only you can see it. So what we've been talking about is the benefit of having a shared resource. Sometimes you don't want to have a shared resource. You want to just work on something on your own. So let's see if this does exist. Great. So now when you've got a batch that has that privacy tag enabled, you'll be able to see that, oh, okay, only I can see this one, but this other one is public. So again, if that scratches some sort of itch and you're thinking, right, yeah, I can have our, agreed upon, this is the list for Spring Summer 27, this is the batch, but I can also have my own little noodly batches that nobody else is going to see. It's along those lines of, particularly over the summer months, which we're finding, people go on holiday and you need to set things up so that you're not going to be blocking one of your team members for the 10 days that you're on a beach somewhere, because you've captured data in a private way. So use the tools in a way that you think is going to be the most useful and defensive for you. Super. Right, I dotted around this, so let's go back to the beginning and check we've covered everything. We've looked at multi-work document templates. as I mentioned, that's just sort of happened this week. There's other objects that we could work on in the future, such as contacts, or can't think of another one. There must be more. Contracts, maybe. So, if you see this and you think, oh, if only it wasn't at works level, if it was something else, products actually would be a completely valid thing there. So all of this is extendable and really to give you food for thought. But multi-work document templates is shipped. If you would like to have a go on it, drop us a line, support@consonance.app, so that we can flip either your user account or your company account on, just to have a look at the beta, and let us know what you want. This is a chance to get exactly what you want, because it's a very malleable stage of development, and as you know, we don't charge for development, so this is a great time for you to say, I would like X, Y, and Z, and it'll be done for free. New data tags available. We had a look at that. Going outside of consonants, a cautionary tale. We've covered that. We showed that Data Studio is unlike any search in any other publishing management systems, because we separate out the idea of searching for the data and presenting that data. So you use filters to, refine the data that you want to look at, but then you see it and act on it in lots of different ways. Products lists, works lists, refining that list down, schedules, to-dos, print orders. And what we were looking at today was producing multi-work HTML documents or text documents. So, switching displays is a very fast way to go from, I had an idea for looking at some particular sort of product and then following your nose. And then we looked at sharing batches, because that's a great way to try to keep data within Consonance, limit the amount of admin you have to do, but make sure that you're able to kind of see the decisions, see the agreements that have been made. These are the products that we're going to enter for this prize. These are the products that we're calling Spring Summer. These are the products that are going in the front list section of the catalogue. And then you don't have to store that decision on Outlook. That's all I want. Save you from Outlook. Fabbo. So that is us for a week. Business as usual next week, I think. Yeah, maybe so. Yes, it's been a very busy week of exciting life admin this end. Exam results came out for me and my son, so we did very well. I'm delighted to report. So it's been very emotionally intense. So I'm looking forward to a lovely weekend. And I hope that you're looking forward to the same. Let us know if you'd like us to flip you on for document templates and have a poke around. We're very happy to set you up so that you can start getting the value of that exciting new feature. Great. Right. Have a lovely week then. See you on the other side.